Once you've created a form, you need to be able to share it with your user base so that you can collect the data that you're interested in. So here we are in the form creation mode, and the simplest way to do this is simply click on the Send Form, which is up here. When you do that, you're going to be given the option to share this data via Google Plus or your Facebook account or Twitter, which is probably not the way you're going to want to do it in our particular case here. If you already have a set of email addresses already established as a mail group in your Gmail, you could simply type that in right here, and then when you do so, all of those will be entered in right there. And when you click the send, that survey will be sent to all individuals. Now, what they will see is they will see the live form. So if you were to click on this, they're going to see this form right here. They would fill it out and then be able to submit it. Right, so that's one option, is just to send it directly to them by email. But let's say you wanted to put it into a web page, something like this. So here's a web page that you have devoted to hurricanes, and you want people to be able to make a link to it from right here. Okay, another easy way to do this is to just put your cursor where you want to in the editing mode. And now you're going to use the insert feature, and there's a tremendous number of options right here. But the one we're looking at is under your drive, which is where all of your docs are located. And we're going to try to select the specific form. So here's the form. So as this comes up, it's going to look at all the various different forms in your Google Docs. And right now, this is the one we want, but if I wanted to see the variety of ones related to hurricanes, I could simply click it in like this and then find the one that we're interested in. In this case is the one we're interested in. So if I simply use the defaults and save it and insert it, and then save in the web page change, you can see that indeed the survey is now embedded into your web page. And as they go all the way through this, they go through the various different pages. At the very bottom of that, they're going to hit the submit button, and when they click on the submit button, that data will go into the associated spreadsheet. Now, as with all Google Docs, that if we're it's all docs that are embedded in spreadsheets, we can change the basic parameters of them in terms of how they are viewed on the screen by simply being in the editorial mode, clicking on it, and then clicking on the gears. So if I click on the gears, I can change, like let's say I want to remove the title or remove the border. And I want to make this go full width. Well, I could easily do that by just removing this, and notice that if I leave it empty, that's going to create a 100% width, which will simply size it for the available space. So when I go back to save it, you'll notice that the survey is right there. Now, this is not so obvious as to what this is right here, and the only thing that can tell them is this bar. So obviously we need to go back and edit this one more time. So if you look at the top and you click on this, notice that you can do this also by simply clicking E for edit there, and click on it. Here, when we change the parameters, I probably want to retitle the survey here and just call this please complete this form, and then I'm going to include that border here. And when I include that border, is that'll actually appear in the in the associated form that's embedded. So we're going to save it, and now we'll see how this changes. Now notice there's a little more instructions, but notice that again they can't even see where the form is unless they see the bar over here. They may be a little mystified as to what's going on. So we're going to give them a little bit more space on there. Again, in this case, I'm just going to hit the E for edit, and that'll give me the same options. And I'm just going to go over there and change the vertical parameter. Let's just change that right now to, let's say, 1,000. And when you do that, now they're going to have a little more real estate to to work with, and you just want to make sure that they can get the idea that there actually is an associated form with this. All right, and this will answer the question on how to embed a form into an existing web page. One other feature that's nice to look at on this is if I go back into the editorial mode and click once again on this, is that if I do choose to make this a narrower one, in this case here I'm going to make my width here just to be 400, then this is going to be treated like any kind of graphic in terms of positioning. So if I click on it again, I can center it, I can right justify it. Like in this particular case here, I'm going to turn the wrap on and right justify. And then I can move this maybe to a different location. And as I do so, you'll notice that the form can appear in line with the text maybe associated with it. And that may be easier for some applications. So this is perhaps the best way to do this, because what it does is it allows you to keep the user on your website, which is of course what you want them to do, because there may be other information and so forth you want them to pay attention to, or more information you need to collect from them. However, a third option is if you choose to, you can simply link to it from some other location. And if you have some text, as the text we have right here, all you have to do is to find the URL for the associated form. So if we were to look at our Google Drive, okay, so I'm just going to go to my Google Drive, I can see right here there's a copy of hurricanes and hurricanes. The question is, how do I link to one of these forms? So if I click to this, what I'm going to be linking to, if I copied the URL, in other words, here's the URL, you can see it right there at the top. So if I was to copy to that URL, what I'm going to get is I'm going to get the editing features right here. In other words, I'm going to be able to go into the editor, but that's only going to work obviously if I'm in the editorial mode and won't allow me to collect any data. But just to show what this common mistake is let's say that we adjust this text right here, and we're going to make a new link. So we're going to make the link right here, and I'm just going to paste in the web address that I just copied from my Google Docs. Now notice at the end it says edit. That's because that was a link to the edit version of this. So it looks good, and we can link to it and so forth. And when we click on this and we save it, that what we're going to do is that by following this link right here, is that this is now going to take us sure enough into the editorial version of this rather than the version we want to really see. So how do we get around this? Well, if you view the live form instead, and I will just show again the URL right here, you can see here it says view form on the final portion of that URL, and we copy that. Then what we have here is we have an ability to link to the actual form that we want them to go to rather than to the editing version of it. So again, we're back into the editor. We're going to click on the link. Oops, first highlight the text at the bottom, and then remove the previous link by clicking on the link. Highlight the text one more time, put the link in, and this time we're going to click on the web address and simply paste it in. Notice it says view form over here. So since that says view form, then indeed when we save that and the user comes and clicks on this, then what's going to happen is that's going to indeed go to the correct form, the one that the user can use. And they can enter all of that data, and we can get the types of responses and so forth that we need.